Good morning and Shabbat Shalom. Hillel, a famous Mishnaic sage and scholar of the first century, once said, if I am not for myself, who will be for me? If I am only for myself, what am I? And if not now, when? This saying will help me to explain what is going to happen in this next in the next hour and a half. The idea of this service came to Rabbis Rachel Benjamin, Rebecca Burke, and myself after a very successful liberal Judaism biennial. The theme of the LJ gathering this May was collaboration. And the three of us had an honor of leading the Shabbat morning service there. The music was especially recorded for this occasion and included musicians from across the movement. If I am not for myself, who will be for me? We thought, if we are not going to use this again, who will? So we are doing it. You will see and hear the video clips from the biennial service during this hour, but the liturgy will be from our current prayer book, Sidur Lev Chadash, and you will be able to see page numbers on the bottom of each slide when I share my screen, or all the prayers will be on your screen. You don't need a prayer book for it. This service is the result of collaboration between three synagogues: the Finchley Progressive Synagogue, the Liberal Jewish Synagogue, and the Mosaic Liberal Synagogue. Different communities have different customs for online services. You will see that most of FPS and Mosaic members will be on Zoom during the entire service, while most of the LGS members will be watching the service on the YouTube or Facebook and will join Zoom only for Kiddush and chat after. Today we respect and value the diversity and differences. We celebrate our communities and say, if I am only for myself, what am I? Collaboration and working together is a gift which the era of Zoom Judaism gave us. All of us had been zoomed into the online world over the last 3.5 months. This is the time when we can work together and get to know each other, form relationships, and feel part of a strong movement. Our homes will become our sanctuaries, our screens, prayer books. If you have good speakers or headphones, now is the time to put them on. If not now, when? Shabbat Shalom, and welcome to all who take part in this service and participate in it. I'm going to share my screen and we begin our service on the page 129 if you are following from the prayer books.
Source of light, of truth, and of the impulse within us towards justice and mercy. May this hour of worship be one of vision and inspiration. Help us to find knowledge by which to live. Let the words we speak enter our hearts and influence our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in search of you or in need of comfort and consolation. May the offering of their hearts be acceptable to you, and may the prayers we utter here bear fruit in acts of kindness, peace, and love.
There is a custom to start every single day with a bit of Torah or a bit of wisdom, a Jewish wisdom. So we are doing it, and but we will recite the blessing before together, and then I will invite Alan Schmidt to read a part of a Micah. ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו לעסוק בדברי תורה.
With what shall I approach the Eternal One? How shall I worship the God of heaven? Shall I come before God with burnt offerings or with yearling calves? Will God be pleased with thousands of rams or with 10,000 rivers of oil? Should I give my firstborn for my transgressions, the fruit of my body for the sins of my soul? People tell you what is good, but what does the Eternal One require of you? Only to do justly and love mercy and walk humbly with your God. These are actions which bring benefit here and now, but whose full value can be measured only in the light of eternity. Honoring one's father and mother, acts of love and kindness, diligent pursuit of knowledge and wisdom, hospitality to strangers, visiting the sick, enabling bride and groom to rejoice, consoling the bereaved, praying with sincerity, and making peace where there is strife. And the study of Torah leads to them all.
Eternal God, may the words of Torah taste sweet to us and to all Israel, that we and our children and all the children of your people may come to know you by studying Torah. ברוך אתה אדוני, המלמד תורה לעמו, ישראל. ברוך שאמר והיה עולם, ברוך הוא. ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, המהולל בפי עמו, משובח ומפואר בלשון חסידיו ועבדיו, בשבחות ובזמירות, נגדלך ונמליכך מלכנו, יחיד חי העולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, מלך מהולל בתשבחות.
כל הנשמה תהלליה, הללויה. כל הנשמה
ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו, האל המלך הגדול והקדוש, בשמיים ובארץ. כי לך נאה אדוני אלוהינו, ואלוהי אבותינו. שיר ושבחה, הלל וזמרה, ברכות והודאות, מעתה ועד עולם. ברוך אתה אדוני, הבוחר בשירי זמרה. את אדוני praise you, Eternal One, our God, Sovereign of the universe, Maker of light and Creator of darkness, Author of peace and Creator of all things. In your mercy you give light to the earth and all who live on it. And in your goodness you renew creation continually, day by day. How manifold are your works, O God! With wisdom have you made them all. The world is full of your creations. Your handiwork proclaims your praise. The radiant stars bear witness to your glory. Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer HaMeorot. We praise you, O God, Creator of light. Ahava rabba aftanu Adonai Eloheinu. Chemla gedola v'tiracham aleinu. Avinu malkeinu ba'avur avotenu shebטחו בך, ותלמדם חוקי חיים, כן תכוננו ותלמדנו. ותן בלבנו להבין ולהשכיל, לשמוע, ללמוד וללמד, לשמור ולעשות ולקיים את כל דברי תורתך, באהבה. והאר עינינו בתורתך, ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך, ויחד לבבינו לאהבה וליראה את שמך, כיוון ובחרת לייחדך באהבה. We praise you, O God. In love you have called your people Israel to serve you. Although we can't hear each other, and we are not going to unmute each other now, but let's say the first line of Shema together, just knowing that we all do it at the same time. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai, Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod, Malchuto, Leolam, Leolam. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai, Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod, Malchuto, Leolam, Leolam. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai, Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod, Malchuto, Leolam, Leolam.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Good and beautiful and true, sound, established and enduring are these words now and forever. True it is, Eternal One, that you are our sovereign God and Redeemer, as you were the God and Redeemer of our ancestors. You are our Maker, the rock of our salvation. We have known you always as our helper and our liberator. There is no God but you, truly you are first and you are last. We have no Redeemer but you. You redeemed us from Egypt and freed us from the house of bondage. Then with great joy Moses, Miriam and all Israel together sang to you this song.
שירה חדשה שבחו גאולים לשמך על שפת הים יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
צור ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל. גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו קדוש ישראל. We praise you, O God, Redeemer of Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Gaal Israel. And Rabbi Rebecca Burke will continue the service.
So we move into the Amidah. The Amidah perhaps is our most challenging section of the service to do in the intimacy of our own homes, where we're used to standing, we're used to... Amidah, of course, means to stand. The central prayer in our Shabbat morning service, daily service 2, 3 times a day, the prayer that we're told replace temple sacrifice and therefore has so much meaning and gravitas for us. So I invite you all to stay, to be exactly as you need to be in comfort. Perhaps standing feels right for you. Perhaps with the where your computer is, you have a better sense of respect for others and yourself by staying seated. Either way, let me just remind you that the first paragraph calls on our ancestors, Avot ve'imahot, that wonderful addition that the progressive world made with great enthusiasm, and we saw it in our Siddur Lev Chadash, that we call on our matriarchs as well as our patriarchs. Perhaps a moment to think about who in your life, either physical ancestors or people that inspired you, that have allowed you to arrive at this Shabbat service today with these 3 communities coming together. What is it that has made you pursue this religious heritage of ours? So let's begin by saying these words, singing these words together. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha.
Yala lai 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 Adonai. Yala la 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 sefatai tiftach. Yala la 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 ufi yagid tehilatecha. Yala la 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 Adonai. Yala la 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 sefatai tiftach. Yala la 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 ufi yagid tehilatecha. Yala la 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 Adonai. Yala la 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 sefatai tiftach. Yala la 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 ufi yagid. Ufi yagid tehilatecha.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Konei Hakol, v'Zocher Chastei Avot ve'Imahot, u'Mevi Gula livnei v'nehem, Lema'an Shemo b'Yahava, Melech Ozer Moshia Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Machaye Meitim atah Rav Lohoshia, Mashiv HaRuach u'Morid HaGeshem, Mazriach HaShemesh u'Morid HaTal. Machakel Chaim b'Chesed, Machaye Meitim b'Rachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim v'Rofech Olim, u'Matir Asurim, u'Makayem emunato lishnei afar. Mi chamocha ba'al gvorot u'mi domelach, melech meimit u'machaye u'matzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman ata lahachayot meitim, Baruch ata Adonai, machaye hametim. Mekadesh et shimcha ba'olam kashem shemakdishim oto, b'shmei marom, kakatuv al yad neviecha.
Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevaot, Melech kol haaretz kavodo.
Kavodo malei olam.
Baruch kavod Adonai mimakomo.
ממקומך מלכנו תופיע ותמלוך עלינו, כי מחכים אנחנו לך.
Yimloch Adonai leolam, Elohayich Tzion, ledor vador. Hallelujah.
From generation to generation we will make known your greatness. To the end of time we will proclaim your holiness. Your praise, O our God, shall never depart from our lips. We praise you, Eternal One, the Holy God.
Yismachu
Velohei Avotenu, our God and God of our ancestors, may our rest on this day be pleasing in your sight. Sanctify us by your commandments and make us loyal to your teaching. Satisfy us with your goodness, gladden us with your salvation. Purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, Eternal One, let the holiness of your Shabbat enter our hearts, and may all Israel who hallow your name be exalted by its peace. Baruch atah Adonai Makadesh HaShabbat. Eternal God, be gracious to your people Israel, and in your love accept their prayers. May our worship now and always be acceptable in your sight. Baruch atah Adonai she'otecha levadacha b'yera na'avod. And this penultimate paragraph of the Amidah, the paragraph of appreciation and thanksgiving, where we say those first words, Modim anachnu lach, we are thankful. In our congregation, we use this as a reflection, a moment to add something privately to ourselves that we feel grateful, appreciative for. Modim anachnu lach, she'ata hu Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu, le'olam va'ed. Tzur chayenu, magen yishenu, ata hu ledor vador, nodeh lecha, nesaper tehilatecha, al hayenu hamsurim biyadecha, v'al nishmotenu hapekudot lach, v'al nisecha shebachol yom imanu, v'al niflotecha v'tovotecha, shebachol eit erev v'voker v'tzoharayim. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, u'lacha na'er lohodot.
Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Chen v'chesed, chen v'chesed v'rachamim. Chen v'chesed, chen v'chesed v'rachamim, v'rachamim. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Aleinu ve'al kol Israel. Aleinu ve'al kol Israel. Amecha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha.
Baruch atah Adonai, oseh hashalom. Let's take a few moments for silent prayer and reflection. Passing over to Rabbi Rachel Benjamin for the Torah service.
Thank you. Thanks, Rebecca. So I'm delighted to be part of this collaborative service. It's been a real pleasure to work again with Rabbis Igor and Rebecca. And it's great to see so many friends here together from 3 different communities. So as Rebecca has said, we turn now to our Torah service. And can everyone hear me all right? There's a huge amount of material in this week's double Torah portion of Matot Mas'eh, Numbers chapter 30, verse 2 to 36, verse 13, which brings us to the end of the book of Numbers. In it, the focus shifts from the journeys of the Israelites to settlement of the land of Canaan. So there are rules about vows, about the danger of idol worship, and there's conflict with Midian. The tribes of Gad and Reuben and the half-tribe of Manasseh want to settle in choice grazing land outside the designated borders of the promised land. And Moses permits them to do so, provided that they agree to join in the battle to conquer the land west of the Jordan, though they will not claim any of it. Moses recalls the itinerary of the Israelites' travels from their point of departure in Egypt to their final encampment in the Transjordan, of which there are 42 stations, incidentally. God tells Moses to warn the people of the dangers of idolatry when they cross into the land. And he tells Moses what the boundaries of the land will be and how it will be apportioned for the Israelites. The Levites have a special task of serving in the sanctuary, so they don't receive land as the other tribes do. However, here we learn that the other tribes are to allocate the Levites 42 cities in which they may dwell, as well as pasture land around the cities. Well, number 42 figures prominently this Shabbat, and it is, of course, the ultimate answer to life, the universe, and everything, according to Douglas Adams, as we know. The Levites are also to receive 6 cities of refuge for those who unintentionally cause the death of another person. Well, the parsha ends with an adjustment to the earlier judgment in favor of the daughters of Tzlofechad. God had agreed that the 5 sisters, having no brothers, they could inherit their father's land after his death. Members of the tribe of Joseph complained that if any of the daughters married outside the tribe, the land would be lost to the Josephites. God agrees that their plea is just, so the daughters of Tzlofechad are told that they can marry anyone they wish, as long as they are from the tribe of Joseph. No inheritance of the Israelites may pass over from one tribe to another. Well, in a moment, I'm going to be reading the section about the cities of refuge, Numbers 35, verses 1 to 14. As I said, there were 6 cities of refuge and altogether 48 Levitical cities. And a rather lovely Hasidic interpretation suggests that this is akin to the Shema as recited during prayer. The 6 Hebrew words of the sentence, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. And the 48 words of the paragraph, Ve'ahavta, you shall love the Eternal One your God, that follows. Just as the ancients could find succor in the Levitical cities when they had sinned, so today one may find respite and comfort in the city of Shema. And so I invite Alan Hunt to recite the Torah blessings for us.
Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam, Asher Bacha Banu Mikol Ha'amim, Natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Notein HaTorah.
Amen. Vayedaber Adonai el Moshe be'arvot Moav, al Yarden Yerecho le'mor. Tzav et bnei Israel, v'natnu laleviim, minachalat achuzatam arim lashavet, umigrash le'arim suvivotehem titnu laleviim, v'hayu he'arim lahem lashavet, umigrashehem yihiyu livhem tam, v'lirchusham ulachol chayatam, umigrashe he'arim asher titnu laleviim, mikir ha'ir v'chutza, elef amah saviv, umidotem michutz la'ir, et pa'at kedma alpayim be'amah, ve'et pa'at negev alpayim ba'amah, ve'et pa'at yam alpayim be'amah, ve'et pe'at tzafon alpayim ba'amah, ve'ha'ir batavech. Ze yihye lahem migrashei he'arim. Ve'et he'arim asher titnu laleviim. Et shesh arei hamiklat asher titnu lanus shama harotzeach. Va'alehem titnu 42 ir. Kol he'arim asher titnu laleviim 48 ir. Et hen ve'et migrashehen. Ve'he'arim asher titnu me'achuzat bnei Israel. Me'et harav tarbu. Ume'et hama'at tam'itu. Ish kafi nachalato asher yinchalu, yiten me'arav laleviim. Vayedaber Adonai el Moshe le'mor, daber el bnei Israel, va'amarta alehem, ki atem ovrim et hayarden arza Canaan. V'hikritem lachem arim, arei miklat tihyena lachem. V'nashama rotzeach, makei nefesh bishgaga. V'hayu lachem he'arim, lemiklat migoel. V'lo yamut harotzeach, adom do lifnei ha'eda lamishpat. Ve'he'arim asher titenu, shesh arei miklat tihyena lachem. Et shalosh he'arim titnu me'ever layarden, ve'et shalosh he'arim titnu be'eretz Canaan, arei miklat tihyena.
Yeshua.
The Eternal One spoke to Moses in the steppes of Moab by the Jordan, across from Jericho, saying, "Instruct the Israelite people to give to the Levites from the holdings apportioned to them cities for the Levites to dwell in. You shall also give to the Levites pasture land around their cities. The cities shall be theirs to dwell in, and the pasture land shall be for their cattle and for their goods and for all their beasts. The city pasture land that you are to give to the Levites are to be 1,000 cubits all around from the wall of the city. You shall measure off 2,000 cubits outside the city on the east side, 2,000 on the south side, 2,000 on the west side, and 2,000 on the north side, with the city in the middle. That shall be the pasture land for their cities. The cities that you shall give to the Levites shall comprise the 6 cities of refuge that you are to designate for a murderer to flee there. And in addition to them, you shall give 42 cities. Thus, the total of the cities that you assign to the Levites shall be 48 cities with their pasture land. And the cities that you give from the holdings of the Israelites take more from the larger groups and less from the smaller, so that each gives cities to the Levites in proportion to the share it receives." The Eternal One spoke further to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, when you cross over the Jordan into the land of Canaan, you shall provide yourself with cities, cities of refuge, to which a murderer may flee, one who has killed a person unintentionally." And I use the word murderer here because the Hebrew is the same, rotseach, whether it's a murderer who intends to kill or one who kills unintentionally. "The cities shall serve you as a refuge from the avenger, so that the murderer will not die until he stands before the community for judgment. The cities that you give shall be in all 6 cities of refuge. 3 cities you shall give beyond the Jordan, and 3 cities in the land of Canaan. Cities of refuge they shall be." And because we've come to the end of the book of Numbers, we would normally hold the scroll up in the synagogue and sing Chazak, Chazak, v'nitchazek. Be strong, and, well, it's either let us be strengthened or let us strengthen ourselves. And I think the latter is the most appropriate for today. Alan.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu torat emet, v'chayei olam nota b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai, notein haTorah.
Amen. Thank you, Alan. And I'm going to hand back to Rabbi Rebecca.
Thank you, Rachel. That was beautiful. So I'm in the fortunate position of introducing the Haftarah this morning that my mother will read from the community of LJS. I think, Igor, you were going to share a text for me to help me talk about it. What we share as 3 liberal synagogues, formerly Wembley Progressive Synagogue, now part Mosaic Liberal, and the LJS and us at FPS, is a love of Psalm 23, and actually only ever really encountering Psalm 23 either in Yizkor on Yom Kippur, where no doubt all 3 of us have renditions, musical renditions that are a key moment of the day, or else in a funeral service. But actually Psalm 23 is perhaps the most well-known of the 150 Psalms. And Igor and Rachel and I decided we would have it as a moment for our Haftarah this morning. And we would have it as we would connect with the idea of trust that comes through the cities of refuge that Rachel read, chanted, and now in Psalm 23. I have shared with you an alternative translation to Psalm 23, not the one we're going to hear. This is by Robert Alter. Robert Alter, famously a literary professor at the University of Berkeley, California, turned his skill and interest to the Hebrew Bible. Initially just the book of Genesis, and now the whole of the Tanakh. And what he does is to pull out the poetry of the words. He is particularly interested in Psalms by one idea, that in Judaism, in the Hebrew language, there is no understanding that soul is different from a person's life. And what he does here, we're so used to very casually using the term soul every time we come across the word nephesh, and he says not so, this is life. So mythically speaking, we are always told that it was King David that wrote all the Psalms. Highly unlikely. Alter tells us that this psalm itself was probably written in the 3rd century BCE, but we love the myth of David, and this one in particular captures the moment when David was fleeing from Saul, Saul being the first king of Israel, but once David is identified as the next anointed, Saul's full rage of paranoia and depression make him pursue David with great harshness. Meanwhile, David is having a strong friendship with Saul's son, Jonathan. But here, I just want to draw attention, give you a moment to read this alternative translation that I think is so beautiful. So Psalm 23, my life, he brings back, talking of God, not soul. Alter gave up the very familiar phrase of in the valley of the shadow of death for the veil of death's shadow. Why? Because he wanted to capture the idea that all of us throughout our lives are never far from death, are never far from the impact of death around us and on those that we love. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me, symbols of what steadies us in life. The idea, many of us, it's a curious description that he's chosen. You moisten my head with oil. This is the season of ordination of the next generation of rabbis. Should have been ordained at the beginning of July, and now it will be a private service in a week's time. And actually, this idea of oil here, the word is not the word usually used for anointing or smicha or laying on head, but suggests something different. So this just brings to life, Alter brings to life what this psalm can mean for us outside of the memory of death. That last line, I shall dwell in the house of the Lord, not forever, but for many long days, and what that means for us. So now let's hear the one more closely associated to the King James Version. So, Mum, are you okay to unmute yourself? Yeah. Oh, it's just...
Yeah.
Right.
We praise you, eternal God, sovereign of the universe. You sanctify us by your commandments and enjoin us to read from the Ketuvim. The Eternal One is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. You anoint my head with oil, and my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Eternal One forever. For the Torah, for the privilege of worship, for the holy writings, and for this Shabbat day, which you, eternal God, have given us for holiness and rest, for honor and beauty, for all these I offer thanks. May all the living come to praise your name forever. We praise you, O God, for the holiness of Shabbat.
Thank you.
Eternal God, whose dominion embraces the universe, we ask your blessing for our sovereign lady, Queen Elizabeth, and all the royal family, for those who govern our country, and all the who influence the quality of its national life. Make them conscious of their responsibility and teach them to exercise it in accordance with your will. May we all help to fashion in this country a society that excels in freedom and justice, tolerance and compassion, so that it may be a force for righteousness and peace in the life of humanity.
Eternal God, as you blessed our ancestors in generations past, bless now these congregations, its leaders and its members, and all who enter this synagogue to meet, to study, and to pray. Comfort the sorrowing hearts among us and heal those in anxiety or pain. May we all find here community and friendship, renewal of purpose and hope, a deeper understanding of our heritage, and a sense of your abiding presence. Bless all congregations of the House of Israel throughout the world. Let those who live under oppressive rule soon be freed, and may we all unite to witness to your truth and do your will. Amen.
Eternal God, our rock and redeemer, grant blessing to the state of Israel, created to fulfill an age-old dream and to be a haven for the oppressed. Inspire its leaders and citizens with faithfulness to the aims of its founders, to develop the land for the benefit of all its inhabitants, and to implement the prophetic ideals of liberty and justice. May they live in harmony with one another and in peace with their neighbors, and cause to come true once more the ancient vision that out of Zion shall go forth Torah and the word of God from Jerusalem.
And we move now to the prayer for the new month of Av, beginning on Wednesday. Yehi ratzon milfanecha Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu, shetechadesh aleinu et hachodesh haba, v'titen lanu chayim arukim, chayim shel shalom, chayim shel tova, chayim shel bracha, chayim shel parnasa, chayim shel chilutz atzamot, chayim shel yeshit bahem yirat chet, chayim she'ein bahem busha klema, chayim she'tehe banu ahava Torah, v'yirat shamayim, chayim she'yimalu kol mishalot libenu lotova. Rosh Chodesh Av yeh b'yom Revi'i. The new month of Av will begin on Wednesday. May it be the will of the Holy One ever to be praised, that it bring for us, for the whole house of Israel, life and peace, happiness and joy, deliverance and consolation, as we begin the process of the journey towards the High Holy Days with the month of Av, the 17th of Tammuz. Famously, the breaching of the walls, the temple walls, begins that process of needing to break down, open up, as we prepare to reach Rosh Hashanah. So let us all say, Amen.
Behold, a good doctrine has been given you. Do not forsake it. It is a tree of life to those who hold it fast, and all who cling to it find happiness. Its ways are ways of pleasantness, and all its paths are peace. Hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva Chadesh yameinu kakedem. Chadesh Ameinu Kakedem. So for the sermon slot this morning, Rabbi Igor, Rabbi Rebecca and I decided to take one verse from the Torah portion and each make some comment on one aspect of it. And the verse we selected is Numbers 35:11, and it's about providing the cities of refuge. You shall provide yourselves with cities of refuge, to which a murderer may flee, one who has killed a person unintentionally. Well, none of us knows what the other one has prepared. So it's entirely possible that we've each chosen exactly the same theme. Well, we'll just have to see. So I would like to focus on just one word from this verse, the word miklat, usually translated as refuge. Ir is a city and Are Miklat are cities of refuge. If you have visited Israel, you will have seen this word all over the country. In modern Hebrew, miklat is a bomb shelter. Miklat Medini is political asylum. So miklat from the roof kuf lamed tet means to take in, to harbor, giving the idea of sanctuary and protection. One of Judaism's watchwords found in Deuteronomy 16:20 is tzedek, tzedek tirdof. Justice, justice shall you pursue. And the Torah repeats many times our responsibility to protect and take care of the vulnerable. In our parsha, as we have heard this morning, the city of refuge is set up to protect those who have accidentally caused the death of another person. Thoughts of refuge, sanctuary, are very relevant to us, particularly at this time, because our homes have had to be our shelter and protection, and for some, our shield from the threat of the COVID-19 pandemic. Our Torah portion brings us to the end of the book of Numbers and the end of Mas'ei B'nai Israel, the journeys of the children of Israel, at the same time as we are experiencing the easing of lockdown and, we hope, the beginning of the end of this surreal period of time. The end of the journey and emerging into the next phase of our lives is both exciting and scary. There's certainly a huge desire to be free of the lockdown, but also a level of fear about what the future holds. When the Israelites eventually go into the promised land, one of the things they are warned about is complacency and taking things for granted. The first thing they are to do when they arrive is to acknowledge the journey that is behind them and express their gratitude to God for bringing them to a land flowing with milk and honey. Things start to go wrong when they become complacent about their good fortune. The coronavirus lockdown meant that many of us had to give up our complacency. The restrictions brought home to us what we were taking for granted: the preciousness of physical contact, the fortune of having whatever we want at our fingertips or in the shops, the assumption that basic services will be available to us and that tomorrow will be the same as today. We perhaps only appreciated this fully when it was taken away from us. It's strange, really, that our refuge was also our trial. And it must have been the same for the inadvertent killer referred to in our Torah portion. He may have been given protection, but his life and family had effectively been taken from him. How do we take what we have learned from the trial and carry that into the future? There are many precious things that we've gained from this time, and this collaborative service is one of them, I would say. But the danger is that we will just revert to how we were before, and all the lessons of this time will be lost. Well, we can each do our part to ensure that the words of Irish-American teacher Kitty O'Meara are prophetic and not just a dream. I quoted them at the beginning of lockdown. I think they have been well quoted since then by others, but it feels appropriate to quote them again now. And the people stayed home and read books and listened and rested and exercised and made art and played games and learned new ways of being and were still and listened more deeply. Some meditated, some prayed, some danced, some met their shadows, and the people began to think differently. And the people healed. And in the absence of people living in ignorant, dangerous, mindless, and heartless ways, the earth began to heal. And when the danger passed and the people joined together again, they grieved their losses. They made new choices and dreamed new images and created new ways to live and heal the earth fully as they had been healed. Kein Yehi Ratzon. May this be God's will. Amen.
Amen.
I hand over now.
So Rachel's provided me a segue with the books we read. So I guess my word that I have taken from this verse is different from Rachel's. V'hikritem lechem arim arei miklat diena lechem v'nas shama rotseach makei nefesh bishgaga. That final word, someone who murders or kills inadvertently, by mistake, bishgaga. One of the things I share with my father is a love of the New Yorker cartoons. This one from last week depicts a couple in bed, and on each of their bedside tables is a pile of books more like a tower than a regular reading stack that literally threatens to bury them. Lockdown has probably done this to many of us. We want to read, we want to use our time to expand our minds. One of the books that's been in my reading tower is Christy Watson's Language of Kindness, the best-selling memoir that tells the lives of nurses, pertinent for all of us these past few months. Watson describes the huge pressure and intensity for all nurses, those on paediatric oncology, those in surgery as scrub nurses, those on chronic medical wards. No matter how gentle the patient's needs are, the nurses literally are the ones, she says, to enable healing all the time. Not the doctors, she explains. It's the nurses, hour-to-hour care, that transforms a patient's life chances. Then she writes about the mistakes. The 1 in 1,000 horrible, tragic mistake, where a nurse might administer the wrong drug or use the wrong vein, or as she describes with one child whose air tube she guarded fiercely, never taking her eyes off them, and then the moment as she changed the dressing, she cut the oxygen tube. Nurses make mistakes, she explains, terrible, avoidable, and sometimes fatal mistakes. And no matter the context, stress, lack of sleep or support or collaboration, they generally never ever recover from them. Even though they may have saved literally hundreds of lives, the one lost by mistake will haunt them forever. Henry Marsh, brain surgeon, in his memoir Do No Harm, bravely and candidly also described the mistakes he made and the patients he lost or the lives he changed forever. Rabbi Meir Levi, a chaplain and psychologist, writes movingly about the tremendous, paralyzing guilt that can torment someone who may have responsibility in another's death. The nurse who made a mistake, the careless driver, the person who didn't take the warning signs of suicide or depression seriously enough. In such a situation, one can easily imagine feeling that one's life is utterly destroyed, that one deserves to be rejected by both people and God. Rabbi Levi then draws a parallel between this and the designation that we read today of a city of refuge. For the murderer who has killed inadvertently, bishgaga, a place for people who have made mistakes, terrible ones, and who need a place of sanctuary to pause. The most significant aspect of a city of refuge, Ir Miklat, was that it was, in every meaning of the word, a gathering together of souls. This city of refuge to which sort of criminals flee is a powerful concrete symbol of God's constant presence among people. In the case of someone who has killed inadvertently, the perpetrator is afforded this place of safety where they can be, without vigilante revenge, safe until judgment and justice has been taken. Even the rabbis, when they read this verse, do something very interesting about the cities of refuge. Of particular concern to them was how a person running from a blood avenger would be able to find one of these cities. According to Midrash Rabbah on Numbers, God tells Moses to set up road signs clearly inscribed with the word manslayer that would point the person in the correct direction. So too Rav Avin stated that every mile along the way there should be a station with a person literally pointing to the city of refuge. And in case this wasn't enough, the roads leading into the cities of refuge should be extra wide, 16 cubits rather than the regular 4 cubits. Therefore, we understand it had to be easy to locate, accessible when folk arrived, a mid-sized city near water and markets with good things in it. In other words, there was always an understanding that people who make mistakes, terrible, life-changing mistakes, are given a pause and a moment. They deserve and are offered a place of refuge. As we go into the month of Av, beginning the High Holy Days journey, it's important to know that mistakes, doing anything bishgaga, can be accounted for. There is room to make amends and begin again. This God of Torah, so fierce at times, but here there is a sense of unconditional love. No matter who you are and what you've got and what you have done, God does not abandon you. We are told that God recognizes that people make mistakes. There is always another chance. And this is what the hapless offender, ridden with guilt and remorse, was to learn in the cities of refuge. Amen. Now I hand over to Rabbi Igor Zinko.
Amen, Rebecca and Rachel. Amen. I remember very well when I was little and did something wrong. I was banned from using a computer for a few hours, or sometimes even for a day. I'm sure many of us would wish we had a similar ban today and not use the computer and sit in front of a screen as much as we do. But it was not the case for me then. I was angry. It made me use my computer. It made me want to use my computer even more when it was forbidden. I wish I realized then that it was a compassion of my parents who simply used this mistake or my mistakes to show me that the world is exciting outside of the virtual space of computer games. I wish I was able to look at the world not only from my personal perspective, but from my parents' points of view. I thought that the room without a computer was a prison, where in fact it was a place of refuge, an act of compassion and love. In the Torah, the cities which we are talking about today, the cities of refuge, demonstrate mercy and compassion towards those who committed an unintentional crime. The biblical idea of Ir Miklat is the idea of compassion and giving people chance to live. The rabbis transformed the idea later in the first century of the Common Era. The idea of Arei Miklat was transformed from cities of refuge to closed cities, to where people are kept sometimes for the rest of their lives. we would simply call it a prison today. Similar to Arei Miklat, our homes became both places of refuge and prisons at the same time during the pandemic. Stay home became life-saving motto and a sentence at the same time, especially for those who must shield. Many people still don't know until when it is going to last. Until when shall a person stay in the city of refuge? The Torah says, until the day when the high priest dies. What does the death of Kohen Gadol, the high priest, have to do with the release of unintentional murders? Rabbi Soloveitchik argues that the death of the high priest was a cause for stress and crisis for the society. It was both spiritual and leadership crisis for the nation. National crisis is a difficult time, but it is also an opportunity to change the society. Soloveitchik writes that any crisis, despite its economical and social challenges, is a chance for compassion, is a chance to demonstrate compassion. Instead of thinking about the next leader, instead of benefiting from the uncertainty, the Torah says, think what difference you can make for people. Think how you can grant forgiveness to those who made a tragic mistake. Think of a world you always wanted to live in. How do we use the time of our crisis? How do we treat people who need our support today? Are we compassionate to our medical staff, our musicians, our actors, artists, and many, many others who lost their source of income and hope? How is an opportunity for compassion to be prioritized? Now is an opportunity for compassion to be prioritized. Now is the chance to change the direction. Now is the time to become a little closer to the world we always wished for. In the world before the coronavirus, we lived with human slavery. Chinese government, for example, has millions of Uyghur captives and forces them to work. Now is the chance to change it. And if I'm only for myself, what am I? In the world before the coronavirus, climate change was an urgent issue. Many scientists warned us to change our daily habits and look after our little planet. Now is the chance to implement these important structural changes. If I am only for myself, if I am not for myself, who will be for me? Before the coronavirus, the world became more and more individualistic. We built fences, blamed immigrants for our problems, closed our doors for strangers and refugees, and did not value communities. Now is the time to realize that only together we can coexist in peace. Now is the time to realize that we need each other in order to be healthy and happy. If not now, when? Shabbat Shalom. And we conclude our service with the words of Aleinu, with the words of vision for the ideal future. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה לייצר בראשית, השם שם חלקנו לייחד את שמו, וגורלנו להמליך מלכותו. אין עוד, אין עוד, אין עוד, אין עוד. שבים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים הוא אלוהינו אין עוד 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 אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו כך כתוב בתורתו וידעת היום והשיבו אותה אל לבביך כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד 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 ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
So beautiful. Thank you, Igor. We turn now to Kaddish, and as we're three communities gathered together, each of us will announce the deaths in our communities and share our yahrzeit list to be able to honor those who are mourning and remembering. We're going to begin with the deaths that have fallen this past week, and Igor and I, LJS and FPS, share a death because this week Herta Klinger died, mother to Catherine Klinger, member of our congregation, grandmother to Rafi Klinger Fixler, and past mother-in-law to Marion Fixler, a very beloved person who died peacefully at the age of 100. Igor, if I pass over to you now.
As a community, we stand together with families and friends of Loris Sleepman, David Stern, Jean Russell, and Rabbi Willie Wolf. And we say, Amakom Yinachem Etchem b'toch sha'ar Avelim. May God comfort you and all who mourn.
Thank you. Rachel?
And in Mosaic Liberal Synagogue, we mourn the recent death of Lawrence Liepman, the father of Karina Liepman.
Thank you. And as we turn to the yahrzeits that fall in our congregation of Finchley Progressive this Shabbat, we think particularly of Brian Aaron, son of Sheila and brother of Beverly, of Simon Mark Lazarus, son of Myrna Lazarus, of Lou Lewis, father of David Lewis, of Darlene Roper, mother of Robin Heller, of Martin Salmons and Harold Rose, brother and uncle of Lillian Gelnick, of Ruth Shapiro, partner of Renzo Fantoni, and of Hedy Stemples, sister of Mary Hutter. Zichronom Livracha, may their memories be for a blessing, and may those who recall and remember and mourn their loved ones be comforted in their loss. Rachel and Igor?
We also remember Rita Benson, Henry Carr, Betty Epstein, Malcolm Goldman, Alan Gordon, Waltraud Hichries, David Ive, Miriam Jollis, Louis and Doreen Lowenthal, John Marshall, Gilbert Norton, Anthony and Julia Poole, Patricia Rose, Rosa and Soma Sachs, Lillian Sweetman, Asher and Yetta Swerling, and Donald Werberg.
And in Mosaic Liberal, we remember on the occasion of their yahrzeits, Bessie Chefetz, the mother of Dennis Chefetz, Golda Hunt, the mother of Alan Hunt, Bernard Kenton, the husband of Jocelyn Kenton, Gertrude Levin, the mother of Ronald Levin, Renee Rose, the mother of Stuart Rose, Leonard Silverman, the husband of Leela Silverman, Helmut Steinfeld, the uncle of Gideon Fiegel, Ellen Terry, the sister of Gideon Fiegel, and Isaac and Simone Zeidel, the grandparents of Brigitte Levin.
So now we turn to saying Kaddish together. This is one moment where you are free to unmute yourself and join us saying the words of Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yamad divrach yotei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yom echon, v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, Magala v'zman kariv v'imru.
Amen.
Hey Shmei Rabbah Mavorach Ta'olam Amen. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'al v'yitnaseh.
Barach v'yishtabach
Yitada v'taleh v'talal Shmei Kedusha v'brich. Leila min kol berchet v'sherah. Mishpachata v'nehema. Amen.
Amen.
Shlama Rabba min Shabbat. V'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael.
Shama. Amen. Yal Kol Yisrael.
Amen.
Oshe Shalom Rabbeinu Yaseh Shalom. Aleinu v'yal Kol Yisrael. B'nai Adam Dimru. Amen.
Amen.
So we're going to close our service with Adon Olam.
Adon Olam Asher Malach Hayama Bye Bye B'terem Kol Yetzir Nivra Hayama Bye Bye La'et Nasa V'chefzo Kol Hayama Bye Bye Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Hayama Bye Bye
ואין שני היה ביי ביי להמשילו להחבירה היה ביי ביי בלי ראשית, בלי תכלית, היה ביי ביי, בלא העוז והמשרה, היה ביי ביי. אדון עולם, השם הלך, בטרם כל יציר נברא, ואין עשה בחפצו כל, אז המלך שמו נקרא.
והוא אלי וחי גואלי, היה בבוואי, וסוחב לי בעת צרה, היה בבוואי, והוא נשיא ומנוס לי, היה בבוואי, מנת כוסי ביום אקרא, היה בבוואי. אדון עולם, השם הלך, בטרם כל יציר נברא, ואין עשה בחפצו כל, אז המלך שמו נקרא.
בידו הפקיד רוחי, היה ביי ביי, בעת אישן ועירה, היה ביי ביי, ואם רוחי גוויעתי, היה ביי ביי, אדוני לי ולא הירא, היה ביי ביי.
אדון עולם, השם הלך, בטרם כל יציר נברא, ואין עשה בחפצו כל, אז המלך שמו נקרא. אדון עולם, השם הלך, בטרם כל יציר נברא, ואין עשה בחפצו כל, אז המלך שמו נקרא.
Wow.
I've kind of, my fellow rabbis, are we going to do the final blessing before the announcements, or are we going to let Paul do announcements first? I just need a bit of guidance.
I think let Paul do announcements first. Yeah.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you. So, Paul, over to you.
Thank you, and Shabbat Shalom. And with those lovely voices still ringing in our ears, on behalf of FPS, may I firstly thank Rabbis Rachel, Rebecca, and Igor for this morning's spiritually uplifting service. Many fondly remember your collaboration at Liberal Judaism's biennial 2 months ago, and so we are the privileged beneficiaries of your desire to come together again, now rather than when. Thank you. And secondly, may I thank everyone who took part in the service, both in front of the bimah, so to speak, such as the readers, the singers, the musicians, and those unseen behind the bimah, such as Leo Mindell, who facilitated our multiple screenings. At Finchley, our current motto is more than a building, and we are grateful to you all for such liquid architecture. And thirdly, it is lovely to see familiar faces from our sister Liberal Judaism congregations at the LJS and Mosaic. There are many who have long-standing friendships, a treasured legacy of being part of the LJ family. In these difficult times, may the warmth, love, and commitment expressed by so many continue to build strong relationships and a sense of belonging. More secular matters, may I briefly remind Finchley members that the theme for Cafe Ivrea tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. is Remembering and Sulking, led by Rabbi Rebecca and focusing on Parashat Devarim. And that's on Wednesday. The Rosh Chodesh Av meeting will commence at 8 p.m. and hear from Susan Cohen, who is a social historian with a special interest in the history of nursing and medical services in the First World War. Please contact Vika Dorish for the link. And on Thursday at 7:30 p.m, continuing our Beit Midrash series on justice in Judaism, Rabbi Danny Rich will be discussing social justice. And finally, at last Thursday's Beit Midrash session, which via the Black Lives Matter movement looked at understanding our community better, we set up a working party. This working party, as an act of teshuvah, will review and evaluate by Rosh Hashanah where FPS is currently at in terms of supporting justice within our community, so that we are able to roll out a program of action for next year. Thank you to those who have already come forward, but we do have space for a couple more people, preferably males, to complete the working party. If you are interested, please let Rebecca know. Thank you, and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you so much, Paul. I almost feel the need to let you all know that we have nothing against women being in that working party at all. We just would like a balance. So thank you, Paul, for eloquently explaining all of that. As a rabbi, one shouldn't necessarily have favorites among the rabbinate, but I have to confess to you all that Rachel and Igor are two of mine. And I think what we've discovered, as we discovered preparing that biennial Shabbat, was that the joy we had doing that is able to be recreated whenever we choose. Rachel and I co-shared leading Woodford Progressive as wards, and I missed working so closely with Rachel, and it has been a delight with Rachel and Igor to do this together. So we wanted to end with the priestly blessing that Rabbi John Rayner, Zichrono Livracha, renamed the threefold benediction of the Torah. So each of us is going to offer a line each to draw these three congregations together at the end of this Shabbat service. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmarecha. May God bless you and look after you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May God look kindly upon you and be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God's face be turned towards you and bring you and us and all of the world the most precious gift of peace. Amen.
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 If you're watching online, please join us for Kiddush and the chat. And the instructions how to join will be on the screen while there will be another song playing.
So as we are advising you all to grab that music first.
מה גדלו מעשיך היה, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. 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 מה גדלו מעשיך היה, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך.
So Igor, we're all doing Kiddush together, right, before we go to the breakout rooms?
Yep.
Yeah,